Hey everybody! Welcome to another episode of Learning to Live. Rashida and I are so pumped today. We got our good friend Sam Jennings with us, and we're very honored that he chose us to kind of announce some special things. He's got a new season coming out on the Sam Jennings show, so we'll just let him take it from there. Welcome, Sam.
Welcome,
Hey,
Sam.
what's up, guys? How are you?
Amazing.
That's what's so good about me and Dustin have been talking for about 15 minutes about just everything but what we're going to talk about now. And, we're both sitting there trying not to say nothing. So, like what we were talking about, Dustin, about just, why do you do this? The why behind having these channels and making content and the work that goes into it. A lot of people don't know how much time and energy goes into that. It's not about money. It's not like a job. It's more like an art form or a hobby.
Yeah.
But I really cut my teeth on YouTube because of eBay, because I'm sitting in this, what looks like this cool studio, but really I'm just in a warehouse. I have bins all around me because that's where we run our home business from, our home eBay business from.
Yeah,
well,
if anybody hasn't checked out Sam's videos on eBay selling, wow.
Yeah, season one
you have is amazing.
Yeah. You can
so
learn a
that's
lot from him. Yeah.
It's kind of like we created this ecosystem in our home. It literally the post office shows up at our front door and picks up what came in as raw material or whatever you want to call it, and goes out a completed product. All happens in this little place Melanie and I live in. So it's definitely something I wanted to share because it was good content. It was like real content. It was real life stuff that we do every day. But like most things, I really said all I wanted to say about it. I never really set out to like have a YouTube channel about selling on eBay. Of course, people, if those vlogs and that vlog series takes off, I'll communicate with people on there because we're still in it every day. We're still doing it. But something, I wanted to bring something different, something that is maybe in a different category, and that I don't necessarily have to promote so much.
Right.
And you and I were talking about that. You said, your channel's Learning to Live, yet you can get thrown into the vortex of LinkedIn or Twitter on your phone. And the next thing Rashida is, already left on vacation. Right?
Yes. No, it's true. It's the vortex. That's a really good way to put it.
Yeah.
So I wanted to come up with something. Melanie and I listen to music. We listen to all kinds of music all day long. We have our Spotify is on our TV, so we don't even have cable television. We have internet. So we literally just listen to Spotify on our TV most of the day, and then we watch YouTube. Or we're watching Criminal Minds right now. So that's like, because we just we work from home. We're always doing something around here, so music's on. Well, we have all these cool playlists. And, on Spotify, they really tell a story. If you watch, there's behind the music, like lyrics. And I'm always ending up Googling and reading articles
Rashida was sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Sam, but I got to tell you this. When I told her kind of what I thought, the direction you were going, she was so excited because every song she's here, she's like, she loves music too, just like you, always going, always singing.
He wasn't sure whether or not that's what we're gonna talk about, but he said, "I think I have an idea. Maybe this is gonna be, exciting, and it's gonna be about music." So I said, "Wow, that's like."
I'm so excited. I'm so excited because I really think that I'm it's hard for me to describe. I guess you're going to see it when you see it. You'll see it September 1st because that's when the first one is ready to release. I've already made 2 of them. So I'm just trying to produce these in a 2-week block. So that way I know that I always have content flowing. I have time to, answer questions and on the comment section, that kind of stuff to grow the channel. But then I'm never like up against it as far as production. I never run out of content. That way I'm not forcing content because I want these to be perfect. Like I want so what they're pretty much the story about the song, not the story about the artist, but kind of the story behind the song. And the story, these stories I tell are made up. Like the last one I did was 29 individual clips. And it's when I was breaking down, like editing the video, that's what it came down to. And it's only a 4-minute video. They're about the length of a song. And because YouTube is so funny about sharing videos, if it's not your music,
right?
Yeah.
Copyright, you'll get copyright strikes real quick so I actually have no music to them. And what I do at the end of each video is I'm just actually giving links to other channels that have the music to them, right?
Yeah.
Good.
So it's more of a storytelling. Video, but it's not very complicated at all. But the stories, I'm amazed with some of the stories that come along with these songs.
So you're researching why they wrote it. Is that correct? And what the inspiration for the song was?
Like I want to do iconic songs first because I don't think I can screw those up because we were just talking about, I rode a bus when I was 15 years old from Canton, Ohio to Jackson, Mississippi by myself. And the only thing I had was Pink Floyd, The Wall, and Public Enemy. Because that's all I had.
What a combo.
So I, telling those, but getting into those types of songs, like the songs I listen to, but I started with these iconic songs. So the one I just did was Rhinestone Cowboy. That was like the tune of the 70s.
Right.
A lot of people think it's a country song. It was a pop hit. It was a #1 pop hit.
Oh, wow.
It was not a country song.
Country music comes to mind right away.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. I didn't know.
And I went down this rabbit hole about this group Glenn Campbell was in the 1960s. Well, it was actually the 1950s and 60s in Los Angeles. There was this group of musicians. It was more of like an orchestra, local jazz players, local, you name it. They had horns, strings, percussion. They were responsible for, I forget how many songs, like #1 top 100 songs, like the background music, and they were called the Wrecking Crew.
Oh,
and
wow.
Glenn Campbell was actually their studio guitarist. So this guy was like a true blue musician. And this Wrecking Crew, like I went down this rabbit hole about him because it was like so underground for the 1950s and 60s. Like these people made a living, just playing an instrument. And, people do that today, but very rare back then. So those kinds of stories. And I think I haven't produced well. So what I mean is I have a script, and I'm not reading from a script, but I'm essentially like memorizing lines, and I'm just regurgitating those lines back at the camera and putting them in, and they're coming out real well. Cool. Not to mention what I learned about making videos here on YouTube with the eBay videos, the eBay vlogs, was I really learned how to tell a story. We talked about this before, but I learned how to tell a story. I learned how a video story is supposed to be told. Like it's like writing a paper. You know, you have the heading, the body, right? In a video or a movie, or those things have the same structure. So like to be able to tell a beginning, middle, and end to a story, and like to tell a good story, that's why I wanted to have these only to be about the length of a song, because I don't know if you look at your analytics much, but my analytics, most people are only on my videos for like 3 minutes at a time.
That's so true. Yeah.
And it's kind of disappointing, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I thought I think if to do it right on YouTube, you know, for what I want to do, is just to hit that 3 to 5 minute, unless I do like a joke with Melanie, I'll never do a Dave Matthews song, because they're like 1 minute long.
Yeah, like 10 minutes.
So I think that's why I'm putting I'm done on social media. And I told you that. I'll tell you why I'm done. This is why I'm done, because I'm going to put everything I have into production, and I'm going to go into like a production mindset, and I'm not going to worry about marketing. I'm going to use the Field of Dreams analogy, and I'm going to do if I build it, they will come.
They will come.
And they will come.
They will.
Yeah.
They will.
I think so. There's also the categories. Whenever you upload a video, what category do you upload your videos to?
I've been having, I'm not sure. I think that I either do it under education or how to.
Yeah.
That's a real question. I don't think a lot of people talk about on here. Because that's what we were essentially talking about, growing the YouTube channels and getting people to subscribe.
Yeah.
Knowing the right category. Well, it was always a conundrum for me. I was making videos about eBay. There's no category for that.
Right.
That's why I play the guitar. I played different things throughout my life. I'm not very good at it at all, but I love music. So I wanted to do something with music because of that, because I wanted to be able to select that music tab. Because I do know whenever they monetize, music is a higher, what is that, CPM or whatever they call it for, figuring how much your dollar amount per thousand.
Wow.
See,
okay.
Have you ever looked into that? Whenever you get monetized, when you get your 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 watch hours,
right?
There's a formula that they use, on how much money they give you out of the ad revenue. So I knew some people do an eBay that would be like $4 per 1,000 views, but then there's music out there that's like $50 per 1,000 views. Like it's some of these YouTubers make ridiculous amounts of money.
Wow.
Mr. Beast, all has to do with the category really makes a difference in what they pay out, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. Because of views. People watch music.
You're our guru. Exactly.
Tell him to
tune in, everybody out there. Sam knows what's up.
Yes. Sam knows.
Sam knows. What do you got on your shirt? Who is it? Yoda?
Tupac.
Oh, Tupac. Oh, cool. Okay. Kind of a Yoda, I guess.
Yeah. Tupac's kind of a Yoda. There's those are things in life. It's like, where were you 9/11? Oh, I was here. Like when I know where I was when I heard Tupac died.
Yeah.
Oh,
because I was like in touch with music, man. I was in the Navy. I was actually in the Navy. and so it was like big to me. It was big news, you know.
Yeah. He was a
'Cause
poet. I liked his music. And like when he rapped, you know how some people when they rap, like they talk from like, you know, somewhere like shallow, but he like spoke from the gut, like when he talked and when he rapped and when he it was like everything, his words, his like the way he projected, the way he spoke was always from the gut. Like you feel him. You know, I don't know why people say, "Oh, Biggie Small was the same," but Biggie was not like nowhere near. You
Biggie,
know,
Biggie was a hustler, a rapper.
yeah.
Tupac, if you watch Tupac's interviews, that guy was 100 years old somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so
Yeah, and I think
Somehow,
he was only
he-
24
so
when he
mature,
died.
yeah.
Yeah.
The knowledge, if you just watch some of his interviews, and you don't have to go very far to find them on
Yeah.
YouTube. He says stuff only people were finally saying today, and that was in 1992, 1990.
93,
He
94.
died in like 94, I think, 95.
Yeah.
But that's stuff people are saying now, and he was saying that at 24 years old and younger.
The guy's brilliant.
Very young, and especially when you kind of read where he came from and how he read and taught a lot of things, like he taught himself a lot of things and educated himself. The only problem that kind of overshadowed what he was saying is that sometimes, because he was really young and passionate, sometimes he came off as a little bit angry. So, you know, people stay away. Oh, you know, angry young man, you know. But but that was because he was 20, 21, 22. He was a child, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, and life had been tough. Life had been real tough.
Really tough. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I'm glad there wasn't cameras everywhere when I was 20, 21, 22 years old, you know.
Right.
He could act too. Acting, he didn't memorize those scripts. If you watch any of the movies he was in, he didn't memorize scripts. Like he just gave it. Like he was a natural on camera. And that wasn't and you know, making content on YouTube, to get comfortable talking to a camera lens and making it come across authentic and real, and you know, to be able to do that naturally, I don't know how anyone does it, because I know like my videos have definitely I'm my biggest critic, but they've definitely progressed over time.
Yeah.
But for someone back then who was never used to cameras, you know, back then when people saw a camera, they started acting crazy.
That's true.
He was able to just like they weren't even there. Like he was transported into this. Yeah, the guy was brilliant.
He was brilliant. He was natural. He is. And sometimes I ask myself how some people. I was watching which biography was it? Chris. What's his name? Chris.
Oh yeah,
the young guy.
The guy who was with
Chris Brown.
Yeah.
Chris Brown. And his biography is really brilliant too. It's really good. You know, it gives you kind of a window of, you know, about his life and why he is the way he is. He is smart too. He's very brilliant. And he just, from the day he was like 10 years old, he could not wait to be in front of people to perform. Even when he was in high school, he was the class clown. He was the dancer. He was like, see me, you know, look at me, you know, hear me. And sometimes some people are like that, like even baseball players, basketball players. Some people are just are like, just put me in there. I know what to do. And some of us are like, oh my God. You know, It's just so phenomenal how some people have that, where they could just say, yeah, I'm good. Like, just put me in front of people.
Yeah.
And Tupac was one of like, he, you know, obviously he was amazing. Yeah.
Well, you know, the saying, a lot of people will use pressure burst pipes, you know, and the saying that I always took was the opposite, because, you know, whenever you come up through pressure like that, it also can create diamonds.
Yeah.
And that's just the life he, that was that upbringing, that life that he led. I mean, it can go one way or the other. So yeah, he was just special. But I want to be able to, I want to be able to get into those types of videos too. But I really like learning about these different, just like the different people that back then that really went into making songs. Have you guys got on TikTok yet?
No, we haven't.
I'm telling you, just like this, I'm telling these stories about these different producers and vice president of Capitol Records and this person and that person, all the people that used to go into making these like hits or whatever the music industry decided they were going to tell us were hits, right?
Yeah. Very true. Right?
Yeah, because that's what it came down to. Now you have kids on TikTok at home mixing their own music, recording their own sounds, and getting millions of subscribers on TikTok, and then getting downloads on Spotify and iTunes, and it's like music used to just be for the few. Now that pie is getting just eaten up into a bunch of small bites, and I love it because I think it's true marketplace. If we're gonna live in a true capitalist society, it is a true competitive. It's an actual marketplace that everybody can compete in.
Yes,
and that is the way.
Yes.
Oh, that's a beautiful
world we live in. Not everybody can compete in the same game. That's only for a select few. That club.
And that's what I tell Dustin all the time. Yeah. I mean, America is great. If I say something wrong, we'll delete it. But I'm from.
Hey, hold on. Dr. Phil, Rashida, Dr. Phil says, after anytime you say "but," it means anything I said before that doesn't mean anything. It doesn't matter.
So, but I lived in different countries, and I lived in Somalia, which was at that time when I was growing up was kind of it wasn't communism, but it was something close where everybody had to, like, we went to the same school. If you're a child of a general, or if you are a child of a janitor, we went to the same school. We wore uniforms. We were eligible to get the same medical treatment. So it was good in that sense. And then I lived in Cairo, and then I lived because of the Civil War, and then I lived in India and Pakistan and different countries. So, but Dustin never left. Never left, which a lot of Americans haven't, unless you were in the military or you were, born into a privileged life. So, but Dustin says, "Oh, in our country, it's capitalist, and everybody gets what do you call it? Equal shot, right?" And I tell him, "No, only few people kind of do. If you have the same, good connections, people who are connected, can connect you to wherever you want to be connected. A lot of people are." I remember one time this guy was accepting an award. I don't know whether it was music or movies. And he said, "This is for all those who are better than me, but did not have the opportunity."
Yes.
So I as you said, only music was only for some people maybe who were lucky enough that were connected.
Yeah, how many Michael Jacksons, how many Tupacs did we not get to see from our generation because there was no TikTok? Because they chose, because Joe toured the country, or because those connections that they made, and now it's same with YouTube. I mean, that's what I love, that really has, and Rashida supported me in this, but really inspired me at Learning to Live.
This is, by the way, for him. Everything we're doing is for him.
Well, of course.
Great.
No, but it gives that platform. I go to work and I know that I make a difference, one-to-one, but to be able to put that out, in masses would be awesome. And I go ahead.
The reason why it doesn't it's not. I said, yeah, it doesn't. It kind of works. It kind of works for everybody, but it really doesn't. With things like music or art, you can be your authentic self, right? That's accepted. But in that other part of this capitalist world we live in, you have to conform to that.
Yeah.
You're not authentic people, different people are not accepted. You have to fit into this mold, and if you don't, you don't conform, you are never going to be able to play ball. And that's just that's just how especially corporate America.
Yeah.
And that's why I love music so much and art, because you can be who you are. You can be who you want to be. And I'll tell you, we're living in a time right now. I don't know what music you listen to, but the music that's coming out right now, especially, I told Melanie when the lockdown started, and I said, there's going to be protesting. I said, this sounds so crazy to say, but the music is going to be phenomenal. Because I knew the music coming out of 1992 after the Los Angeles riots, and there were riots all around. In fact, Sublime wrote a song called, April 26, 1992, right? So there was so much. I knew there was going to be like real good music coming out of it, because that's just what's passion, Some of the stories though that I read, it's like Post Malone.
Post Malone, yeah. My goodness, that guy is so talented.
This guy
talented.
is wow. I don't know if you got a chance. He did a YouTube concert when when all this first started just a few months ago, and he did it was all tribute Nirvana songs. Travis Barker was playing the drums. It's on YouTube. It's really good. I mean, I don't know if you like Nirvana songs, but that guy,
he doesn't. I do.
Kurt lived under a bridge like 5 miles from where I went to school. So
really?
So for a while.
I was never a real big grunge I told Melanie, I heard, and when I was 12 years old, it was around Christmas time. My dad lived in San Antonio, Texas, and I went there for a long Christmas break. Oh, wow. And it was the first big city I'd ever been in to get a bunch of radio stations. Because, back then, you only got to listen to what was the local programming.
Yes,
exactly. And I heard Run DMC for the first time, and it was over for me. That's what separated me from. I was the youngest of 4. That's what separated me from my older siblings. Okay. When I found rap music, it was over for me. And
it wasn't Walk This Way, was it? That was the ultimate for me, because when you put Aerosmith and Run DMC together, that's when it hit me. But
Run DMC. Run DMC was, I mean, and then to just get into all the different, that's what's good about what I'm doing as far as this season.
Yes.
Because it really does, it is what it is. I kind of get bored with things. And I did a lot of videos on eBay, and I learned a lot, but it was just kind of like I said all I wanted to say about that. And that's what's so good about this platform. You can pivot. You can. Do you watch? You know who Gary Vaynerchuk is? Did we talk about this before?
I think you mentioned Gary Vaynerchuk, and and then I got into test mode, and I don't think I looked it up. But but thank you for mentioning
marketing guru. He's probably about my age. Comes from like a family business, just a hardworking kind of guy, right? He's one of the things I heard him talking about YouTube was they ask about naming your channel. Like you guys named it your channel. You gave it specific name because you know where you're going with your channel. That's where your passion is. That's where whatever. that's why when I ask you, where do you see your channel going? And then Rashida asked me the same thing. I kind of was like, I see it going kind of wherever, right?
Yeah.
And then I got this idea, and I was like, this is something that I think it either works or it doesn't.
Yeah.
Right? If
but
it works,
we gotta take chances in life. We just cannot, play dead while we're here. We're gonna be dead forever.
Now you see, now you see why I love this woman. She asks those questions that make you go, "Oh, where am I going?"
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And look, I am the king of chance taking. I've always had what's the worst can happen,
Yes.
Well, I think when you grow up, like we talked about, we grew up. Hey, we've been there. We know everything's up from there.
Me and Melanie, we struggle. We raised 4 kids. So financially, I was in sales too. So there were years where the money was like this, but we were always able to keep our emotions and our feelings like that, never too high, never, and that's what kind of carries you through that time. But, that's why I never kind of had now I know I freaked my family out at times. Like we picked up and moved, Melanie and I took big chances. I told you before this, I'd started a construction company.
Yeah.
Trust me, I heard it. This guy's nuts. It was 2010. The housing market, but I mean, it was not, but it wasn't hard for me. But the liability was through the roof, so I didn't like that part of it. But this, I've taken chances, but I thought I want that. Like I said, what's the worst that can happen? It does take off or it takes off. And so I just want to pour everything I have, like what's up here. I want to be able to pour into that.
Yeah.
And I want what I want. And there's nobody that I can see. Like when I started making YouTube videos about eBay, everybody and their brother made videos about selling stuff on eBay. Right?
Yeah.
What I'm doing right now, I haven't found anybody doing yet.
Yeah.
Well, when I kind of tried to guess what I thought you were doing, which I was pretty close, right, baby?
You were really close, yeah.
We were both like, Sam's brilliant.
Yeah.
It's not there.
And
how many of us like want to know those stories? Like Google those stories. Like, where'd this come from? Because when we listen to music and it hits our heart, it's like, what were they thinking? And sometimes the funny thing is it would be something completely different than what we connected with. That's the cool thing about music. But still, to know that story is,
when you find out, like Post Malone was just on Joe Rogan's podcast.
Oh.
They were on for 4 hours. And he was talking about microdosing mushrooms and writing songs. And these are things that like I want to be able to like put in a video and tell these stories because they're real stories. Like I did this Take This Job and Shove It because it's a funny song. The reason I knew people who knew Johnny Paycheck because
really?
Cool. He was from Green. He was from, I don't want to give too much away, but Johnny Paycheck's story, he was not a good dude. he was a bad dude. He shot a guy. He shot a guy in a bar in Hillsboro, Ohio. And I kind of get into that in the video. So it's like, and he came back from that. He shot him in the head. And the guy didn't die, but he did 22 months in prison for it. And he wasn't a young man then. He was an older guy. So to hear these things, so in researching this, I read these, you can get a lot out of the comments of YouTube videos.
Yeah.
Not the negative ones, but so I read the top comment on this one video of Johnny Paycheck, and it's this guy who tells this story that he was delivering pizza, I'm pretty sure, and he delivered pizza to a room. It was a Hilton, like a real nice hotel room, and it was Johnny Paycheck's room. He delivered him pizza, and Johnny Paycheck paid him to sit there and write down songs for 3 hours while he did cocaine and drank peach schnapps and wrote songs. Now, those are stories that you would never hear.
No.
But like, to get in the minds of musicians, I mean, they go to some crazy places to bring some of that beauty that changes our lives and touches us. You know,
That's
really,
true.
Yeah, it's a real strange, you know, when you dig into some of the stories about these bands. So I have total interest in it. They're super fun to make. The videos, it's like a real sense of accomplishment. And they don't take, man, I was spending so much time making vlogs. Those, a 10, 15-minute vlog might take me, and I was doing them daily. I was spending 8-10 hours doing them a day. Cause you know, we're working. And so I was recording us while we were working, but then I was like uploading on the side. Like, I'm a multitasker. I can do that stuff, but eventually it's just like, how much more do people really want to watch me and Melanie time lapse folding clothes and, you know, inventory in our.
Make it exciting, though. You're full of energy.
Yeah, you know, the one I watched, well, I watched a lot, but just today I was watching the one, some reseller or something, where you have like the inspirational, you have you guys working, and then all the inspirational, like, come on, people out there watching, please check that one out. That is great. I don't know who all you put in there. I don't know, was Les Brown in there? Maybe?
I think it was Les Brown.
Yeah, and it's just like, wow, and it's showing you guys, it's so inspiring though.
Yeah, Les Brown is he was at one time the world's best motivational speaker. I would say he probably, some of his, I mean, just and I stumbled on Les Brown just by accident as far as motivational speakers. And I didn't even realize he, at one point, was a congressman in Ohio.
Oh, wow.
Really?
And he's from Miami, Florida.
Yeah, really.
But that's how he was able to leverage his speaking career, was after he was in the House, you know, House of Representatives in Ohio. He made those connections, and he was able to leverage that speaking career. But, you know, as a politician, they're out there speaking daily, so it's a craft I'm sure he honed on the road. He was also I don't mean to come across like a know-it-all, but I just love Les Brown. He was a DJ. You know, he was a radio disc jockey. He was a DJ.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Because he really controls like his voice, that like he attracts you with the way he delivers words.
Oh, I mean, he was born a twin. He had a twin brother. They were born in an abandoned house in Miami.
Really?
His mother adopted him at, you know, when he was adopted. He was like him and his brother were like given up, and he was adopted by, you know, he talks about her in all of his speech. A good Les Brown. There is if you just YouTube Les Brown, I want to say Atlanta. What was Atlanta, Dustin? Were they not the Superdome? What? What's their dome?
Yeah,
not the new one, the old one.
Yeah, the Superdome is New Orleans, right? But they were man, I should know this. I was a big Falcons fan when Dion was there, and they had Andre Rison. Jerry Glanville? What was the? I can't believe
you just Google your YouTube Les Brown Atlanta.
Yeah.
He's in a packed stadium, and he's talking in front. It's like the biggest, and he kind of tells the story, you know, how he came up and how, you know, just he had a speech impediment. He was labeled
developmentally challenged.
Developmentally challenged, and not in regular classes and in school, and like just was really, you know, given up on. And it just shows I guess it just shows we've come a long way as a society, but his story is just amazing. And then
what a resilient individual to just keep, and that's what we have to do. We have to just keep going. You know?
And he's so fearless. What stands out to me about him is that, and he always talks about, because I'm a little bit fearful, and it's something that I gained with experiences. So one thing he says that I really like that stuck with me is
I think it was that socialism growing up.
Good memories. That's really good.
No, I'm just kidding.
But one thing that stuck with me, I listened to several of them actually. I like motivational speakers, but I like him specifically. He said one time, I don't remember when, or which video, but he said, nobody's gonna get out of here alive. So what's there to be afraid of? Take chances. Put yourself out there.
Yeah.
And that's perfect that you said that, because I was just thinking that. Sorry to interrupt, baby. But when Sam was saying that earlier about all the chances you've taken, we only live once. We gotta maximize it,
Yeah. Yeah, Gary V. So that's why I think you would really like Gary V. He was like, do you want, he'll say that. He'll say, you want to be motivated? Here's motivation. You're going to die someday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dead forever.
Yeah. No way, man. I am collecting. Not to be too, dramatic about it, but I came to grips with my mortality. I spent 3 days in ICU. I mean, I was in full, my body, long story short, I ended up with end stage renal disease. Wow. When I was about 20 years old, I was in Central America drilling water wells. I was in the Navy. It was in the Seabees, and I got sick. I got like really bad. I don't know if it was something I drank, if it was an MRE, but I got really sick. I ran this high fever for like 3 days, but then I was 20 years old. So, I got up and got back at it. Well, I got back, and about 3 months later, in a routine test, I found that I had this, something protein in my urine.
Oh no.
Well, testing here, my left kidney completely shut down. It was gone. And I had some scarring on my right kidney, but I was never sick from it. So I never, it never complicated. But nobody ever said, hey, this is what renal failure looks like. So fast forward about 14 years later, I'm fighting what I think is a really bad cold, and I'm in full renal failure. So by the time look, I'm no tough guy at all. But at the time I was a 34-year-old husband, father, responsible for, a lot of people. I just kept going. And until my wife looked at me and said, if I don't get you to the hospital, you're not going to be alive tomorrow. And so I was in full renal failure. I was in a ICU for 3 days. I wish I had some real, prophetic, things that happened. I did have some things that happened that was life changing. So up until that point, don't get me wrong, I did what I always wanted to do. Like if I wanted to, pick up and move me and my wife and kids, I did it. And so I had, I was already making, taking chances in life. That never scared me. But I really found out, through that time, and it was a 6-month roller coaster. And at the end, I got a kidney transplant. Wow. I was on dialysis the entire time. Wow. I had like 2 different surgeries, and you could call them multiple surgeries because, dealing with dialysis and that kind of stuff. I took bad turns. I took good turns. But ultimately I've been healthy beyond my wildest dreams since took about 8 months to really turn everything around. And I've been healthy ever since. And that was in 2009.
Wow.
But but it really did say, it was like, hey, I am gonna die someday. And you know, and it's not about me, you know, it's not about that me, what am I gonna do, but what can I do, what can I provide, what can I, you know, can I make a difference somewhere, like can I make a difference in somebody's life? Have I made a difference, not in my own but in the people around me, right? So those kinds of things, you know, like Gary Vee says, you want motivation, you're gonna die someday. What's the saying? You know, there's two lives. You know, a person lives two lives. Their first life, and then after they realize they're going to die someday, their second life.
Yeah, that's that's Sam, and this is a lot. I mean, I'm glad that you shared that. I know that's probably not the easiest and everything to share that personal story, but like, thank you so much, because so many times in life, and I find this working in mental health, is, perspective is everything.
Yeah.
And, Rashida and I say here, we interact with you, you're high energy, you're go get them, all of us have like pain that we've gone through that could, it goes, which way are we gonna go? Are we gonna use this to make us stronger and to inspire others and to live a, fulfilled life? Or are we gonna like say, why me? And the more you hear, the more you see people, it's amazing what people go through that nobody knows.
Yeah.
And so many times people that struggle look and say, my position is the worst.
Yeah.
All of our positions is the worst. It's just where we look with it.
Yeah.
And thank you for sharing that. I mean,
and shout out to Melanie for taking care of you.
Yes, shout out to making you go to the hospital, dude.
Yeah,
and making you go to the hospital.
Look, if we could have 10 hours. We could fill 10 hours on here if I told you everything. If I told you like her sitting beside me for 4 hours while I'm hooked up to a dialysis machine. It's funny you talk about, the mental side of things, Dustin. I always, that's one thing I brought to the table to my kids, because look, when you do come up in a little bit of a struggle, when you do come up in life with some hardship, you do, you build some callus, you build some muscle memory to tough times, you build mental toughness.
Yeah.
And that made me a really good salesman, that mental toughness. It made me a good sailor. I was only in the Navy for 4 years. I excelled in those 4 years. I'm not going to exaggerate. I'm not going to lie to you. I could have had a really good career in that if I wanted to.
Right.
Because you build that mental toughness. And when I went through this back then, I thought, here I am, I'm telling these kids, you got to be mentally tough. It's time to put up or shut up,
Right. And, isn't that true?
And I'm telling you, my wife, we don't take, we take things serious, but we don't take life too serious, because it really does come to, now I can sit here. I am a very fortunate person today because I don't work for nobody. I do, freedom to me is being able to do whatever I want to do from the time I wake up in the morning till the time I go to bed. And I do that.
Yeah.
So I have a kind of a skewed perspective. I'm not wealthy by any means, but I have a skewed perspective because of that.
Well, is there any greater wealth than freedom?
None.
None. I mean, what is wealth? I mean, you can get piles of money, and for me, day trading, I can see that can stack up and go down real fast. What is money?
Get ready to. You look. What's me and Bobby McGee? That's the song Me and Bobby McGee. That's a lyric in it. Freedom's just another word for nothing left to lose.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. That's why I'm doing this music thing. I love music. And there is so much, you know, how often can you hear a song and it literally can take you to like a time?
Yeah.
Yes.
You can smell it.
Yeah.
You can hear it. You can taste it. Like it can
You
take
just did that in the car.
What did I?
When we were in the car, what you're like, oh, this is just like when I first came to Missouri. Remember that there was a song from the night. Who was it?
Maxi Priest.
Yeah,
I think he was like one. He was one time
one hit wonder.
One hit wonder.
Yeah.
That song was really good, and it just reminded me when I was like young and just came to the States with my aunt, and it brought everything back to me, like visually, you know.
She's like,
you're gonna like this. You're gonna like this video series, this season 2, because I'm also linking some of Melanie and I's Spotify list, our Spotify playlists. So you can follow if you're on Spotify, you can subscribe to our Spotify playlist and hear some of the playlists that we make. So like we have this one, it's called Melanie named it OG Chill. And that's where I'm getting some of these songs from that I'm doing right now. But like Maxi Priest to do something on that, but have it on a playlist. And that's what I want to be able to do too, is build because Spotify's kind of like the next frontier for music enthusiasts. So you can get enough people following your Spotify playlist, and you can make ad revenue off of it just like you can on YouTube.
Yeah.
Just for a playlist?
Yeah, just to get people to, like, if you can get a gazillion people following your playlist that you created, I mean, there's marketing power there.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah.
So there's a lot out there. It's really it's pretty
this is why we gotta have Sam on. He knows every opportunity. Wow.
Yeah, it's something it's definitely something different. I'm so excited.
Not a lot of people are doing it. Like I like music, but I like storytelling. So I think there was a program on CNN they did about music, like the 60s and the 70s and the 80s. So they included the music. And it was so awesome, like the stories behind the artists. And even though they did not, it was an hour show, so they didn't really get into it so deep. But it's always amazing what are the stories behind certain songs. And there's a song that Mariah Carey did. I didn't know anybody else. Like I thought it was her original song. It's called I Can't Live If Living Is Without You, right? Oh, yeah. So it's a love song. Yeah, it's a really good. Maybe if you Google it, you will know. It's not like, it's a really good song. So I thought that was her original song. And then I just, because the song is like, it has a lot of feelings and emotions. And I'm like, this song is amazing. So I Googled it. Turned out that some other guys in the 60s did it. And it was sad because they had their manager stole money from them, and he did a lot of things to them. They were young. 2 of them committed suicide. Because one committed suicide because he felt like he was betrayed, and the other one committed suicide because his friend died. And it's just so tragic and so sad. But nobody knows that group. Really, not a lot of people know about that group. But
lots of people know Mariah's song.
Yeah, the song became popular because of Mariah's version. Yeah,
the Whitney Houston song, from The Bodyguard. That was a Dolly.
Dolly Parton.
That was Dolly Parton. Like there's a lot of songs like other people have written. We listen to we have a 60s, 70s, 60s and 70s playlist that we listen to. And there's all kinds of songs that pop on, and I'm like, wait a second, I thought that was Daryl Hall and John Oates, but it was someone back in the 60s that wrote it.
Well, the weird one that gets me, what's the one? So there's one that Queen did that sounds like Elvis. And I'm like, they remade Elvis's song. And Rashida always corrects me. She's like, no, they did it. It was like a tribute, song, but it's them. And I'm like, no. And then
but if you want drama, I think the drama is at the 60s, because they did it. They most of them, well, money is obviously, the reason, but most of them were full of emotions. And there were a lot of things going on in the 60s. And some of those guys were really young and kind of, they had like fragile souls. So ended up, doing a lot of, maybe drugs or whatever. Some of them died. I'm a dark kind of person. And also the 90s had a lot of drama.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like you were saying, with the riots and just everything that was going on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's, like I said, right now there's some really good music, coming out. I mean, there's, I was telling Melanie earlier, I said music is like, and I'll probably screw it up now. It's like, it's everything politics should be, right?
True.
It's politics without envy, hate, or greed.
Right.
It's
the honesty.
Yeah. If we
from the heart.
You can have somebody who absolutely loves one genre of music and somebody who completely loves another genre of music. They can get together and it really become friends because they have this one love for music, because it's their music, but it's, it's just another. But if you really love music, you appreciate all, that whole creative.
Anybody who does not love music, I listen to all genres. Or like I had a neighbor before I moved in Toronto, so I used to listen to a lot of like metal, like for example, Prodigy, right? Prodigy.
Yeah, this story hilarious. It's hilarious.
Nice. Rashida rocking out the Prodigy.
Yeah, I used music like that. So like girl, she's Canadian. She's white Canadian. So she knocked on my door and she's like, Rashida, is that you? Do you have anybody over? I'm like, no, it's me. She's like, are you even Somali?
She's like, what are you listening to?
What is that?
It's echoing all the way down the hall.
Well, when you hear something that resonates with you, really, and that's what music does. It really does resonate. It, there is a vibration to it that we all connect with, right? Yeah. And like, but that's what's good. We were watching or listening to a song. You said how that took you back from when you first moved to Missouri. I was listening to a Jim Blossom song.
Oh my God!
Early today.
And which one?
Like it took me and my brother shared a barracks room in Guam. I was in Guam in 1994, and my older brother and I were in the same battalion. We shared a room that deployment, and that was like the music, Green Day, Gin Blossoms, and like that's what we were really listening to. A lot what we were listening to. And then my wife and I had a chance to see them about 5 years ago in Winston-Salem at a venue called Ziggy's, and Ziggy's only fit about 250, 300 people. So it was small. So like we were right up on stage. I mean, the speakers and they sounded, obviously are a little older, but they sounded just as good as, but the song Hey Jealousy came on.
Jealousy, yeah.
And that has a really good story. So that's probably going to be one that I'm going to do here in this first 2-week block. I don't
watch that.
Yeah, I don't want to just do. I just don't want to do like iconic pop songs of the 70s. I'll probably fit a couple 80s, 90s.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of trying to. I don't want to overproduce content because I don't want to just. I don't want to just spit stuff out just to spit it out. Yeah. I want it to be good. So even if I only get like 2 done in a 2-week period, that's all I'm going to do.
Yeah.
Because I want them to be right. When I go in to edit these videos, I want, I'm not only telling a story, but I have a lot of graphics. I'm popping up. So it's real interactive. You can hear it and you can see it. It's kind of like it's a story. I'm telling a 3-minute story. So I want those to be, I want the end, I want the scenes to shift right. I want it to just to be a good video, right? Because that's what I think at the end of the day, that's what brings people back to it. And I want something that, Google and YouTube's gonna say, hey, this is quality content.
Well, and that was a brilliant idea, you know, and it's gonna rock, Sam.
Yeah.
I really think so. So I don't know how you are for time, but I want to give the same respect to you that you gave to us last time. So you know, we're coming up on an hour.
Just hit it. We just hit an hour.
What's that? Yeah, we just hit an hour. So, I mean, honestly, I think me, you, and Rashida could go all night.
Oh, 100%.
You know? So,
No,
I just want to tell everybody out there, please check out Sam's site. I've got everything linked below. Yep, just check it out.
It's gonna be exciting.
Season 2 is gonna rock.
Yeah.
And thank you so much, Sam. Like, it's always a pleasure to have you on here. Please tell Melanie hi. And
I will. Let's do it again. Let's do it. Let's no reason why we can't sit down, I mean, and do this more often. Just get as many. It helps both of us. It helps the channel. You know, it's crazy, isn't it? You know, you build relationships in the strangest ways. But you guys are great. I love watching your videos. I can't say much more. I just appreciate you taking the time. I mean, this is just,
and we really appreciate you, and we really are lucky to have met you, and you really guided us and supported us from the get-go. And
you're getting ready to pass me up.
What's that?
You're getting ready to pass me up. You guys are doing. You're getting all kinds of subscribers. So
well, we're in it together, man. Like, we wouldn't be there had you said, hey, this is a good idea, and I'm like, whoa, it is a good idea. Like,
yeah.
I mean, it's always wonderful to see good people succeed and reach their goals, and you are one of the nicest people that we've met. And from the day that we met you, we're like, this guy has the nicest heart.
Yes.
You're so awesome, and we wish you all the success in the world.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
And thank you so much. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank
See you guys.
Bye.